On your left and your right hand side, it is one of the cemeteries, but this cemetery, it is full. Some people have erected stones, some not. During the olden days, people preferred to bury their loved ones, not to cremate them, because it was not African culture. But because the cemeteries are getting full now, some people prefer to cremate their loved ones. The white wall on your right-hand side, it is a school, Bethany Combined School for orphans that are HIV positive. And this is an NGO. Though they are getting 21% from the government, it is not enough. They sometimes depend on donations from big companies. 4 cemeteries in Soweto. The biggest, it is Avalon, having 2 of the white people that were buried here in Soweto by their choices. It is Joe Slovo and Helen Josephs. Joe Slovo was the chairman of the South African Communist Party, and Helen Joseph, she was a member of the Human Rights Commission, and they chose to be buried here in Soweto amongst the black people. The majority of politicians were buried in Avalon Cemetery, and today it is called the Heroes Acres. Going back to education, saying not all the parents can afford. During the olden days when we were still in school, we used to pay school fees by our own textbook and our own books and uniform. But today with the kids, even though there's no free education, government is giving them the textbooks. But the parents have to pay for their education. They have to buy school uniform, and school uniform is becoming very expensive. Fortunately, those that are outgrowing their uniform, they take it back to school so that it can be reselled to the other ones. When you look on your left and your right hand side, this is the west area, but we'll stop at the other side for you to take pictures. These people have been staying here for a very long time, and these are the people that are waiting for government to build them what you call the RDP houses, small little, houses. Those houses are better than the informal settlement, the squatter camp. I'm talking about these houses, they both on your left and your right hand side. We used to call them the Mandela houses because they started to build these houses when Mr. Nelson Mandela became the first president of the country. But look at the structure of the houses, how they were built, very small, they semi-detached with 2 different families. The good thing about them, they have flushing toilets inside and there is water, clean water. But to qualify for these houses, you must be a citizen of this country, be in a waiting list for more than 5 years, and you must have a South African identity document, meaning you are a citizen. If you're not a citizen, you are not entitled for a house. But a lot of houses have been sold, the officials, there's a lot of corruption. People that are coming from our neighboring country, they want to come live in South Africa and work here, they end up buying those houses. We do have a backlog of houses in South Africa. It's not going to stop. Government is struggling to build houses for everybody, but they have promised that by the year 2030, everybody will be owning. It's a long time, but the people have said we will wait and see. This area where we at, it used to be called Cape Town. It was more like a shopping complex for the people that were staying in Soweto during the olden days in the 60s and 70s. This is where they used to do their shopping, but this is where the Freedom Charter was drafted in 1955. All the people of this country came together, irrespective of their colors and their ethnic group, who they are, politicians and ordinary citizens, to say this is enough, we want the equal rights. African people used to carry what we call the dom pass, and by carrying that dom pass, you were not classified as a citizen, but a pariah in your own country. Wherever you travel, you needed to carry your passbook with you. If you did not have the passbook, the police will stop you and arrest you for trespassing. So those are the things that the people were looking towards to say, it is enough, we want the equal rights. The pillars on your right hand side, they symbolize our tribe. We have 9 ethnical groups. We speak 11 official languages. And the grey building on your left hand side, it is called Soweto Tourism Information Center. The building on your left hand side, it is Soweto Tourism Information Center. We do have our constitution. This is the only place in our country where you can be able to access our constitution in our outdoor constitution. So we'll take you inside for you to read our constitution. Really, it is one of the best constitution. What I've realized is I should think even government is regretting to write such a constitution, because it gives the right to the constitution. And right now there's a big news about the painting of the president. So the constitution gives everybody a right to do whatever they want. So the artists also have a right to draw the picture. But I should think in our own African culture, there must be a respect, because he is a president. But I should think the government has actually given the people a freedom of speech and a freedom of movement. So it has to go to court. We don't know how the judge is going to see it. But I should think the artist also have a right for his own opinion. Some people are saying, get over it. It can be anybody. People don't have houses. Unemployment is very high. And some people are saying it was rude and disrespectful. Not far away from here, we have what you call the place called Sharpeville, the Sharpeville massacre, where 69 people were killed, 186 were injured. Those people also, they were protesting. No. So, one way.
I left again.
No. Sorry. Those people are also protesting for the past laws. And also on the 9th of August, 1956, 20,000 women, they marched from this square to the Union Building, and those women were also protesting for the equal rights. And this is what some of the politicians, the likes of Mr. Nelson Mandela, went to prison for. They were sentenced to life in prison. And these are the laws, the acts that they were saying, the people of this country, we need to live together irrespective of our colors and also our ethnical group. Mr. Nelson Mandela has said this country belongs to everybody who lives in it, and today we're calling ourselves the Rainbow Nations. This is a new area, middle class, having people that are working as teachers, as police, as nurses, as social workers, privately owned by private company, the company called Josco Government. It's outsourcing the land. Private companies, they buy and build these apartments. People are renting this apartment. You rent to buy for 5 years. After 5 years, you become the owner and you are being given a title deed. But I'm not sure whether people have been given the title deeds already. You can see nice apartments, very clean and also well looked after. Do you have questions?
Thousands.
We have the minimum salary, the average salary, minimum average meaning, and the people that are staying in the low class area. I'm talking about the houses on your right hand side. Their salary can be 3,500 rand, 2,000 to 3,000 rand per month. And the minimum, the middle class, earning 8 to 10,000 rand per month. The average, we're talking about the upper class, is 15 to 20,000 rand per month. Upper class, we're talking about professional people and business people.
Is the school fee is 150 rand? Is that consistent across the country?
Yes. That's per annum. Not per month, that's per annum. Yes, per annum. This is the west area, the ugliest part in Soweto. Remember I said we have the good, the bad and the ugly. So these people have been staying here for a very long time, for more than 30 years, because this is a very old area. It was privately owned also. I don't know what happened to the owner, but he gave it to the people that were working for him. The place has mushroomed, as you can see. More people have come in, more shacks here. And this area is very, very low. When it's raining here, they are having floods. They do have taps, as you can see. There is a blue tap outside. More than 10 families are sharing one tap. The shacks are too close to one another. If one shack catches fire, the whole area just burns down. government is not going to build any houses here because this is a wetland. But these people, I don't know whether they want to be removed from here, because some of them that are already in a waiting list, when it's time for them to go to the proper houses, they actually do not want to go to the proper houses, because there you have to work and take responsibility. They prefer to live here. They sell those houses or rent them out, collect money, and come and live here for free. As you can see, there's no electricity, but there are wires going across. Everywhere there are wires, there are television areas, meaning these people are stealing electricity from the street poles. Everything that they have put on top of their houses, it is to make their houses very strong. And well, with the wires, we as African people, we believe that, with the tires, we believe that it is to protect the lightning, not to strike your house. There are no schools here. Children walk every morning to and from. It's about 5 kilometers every morning to and from. And unemployment, not only here, unemployment in Soweto is very high. It is 35%. So not everybody is working. Here you'll see some people basking on the sun, even though not everybody basks on the sun. We are having people that are coming from our neighboring country like Zimbabwe, Mozambique. These are the people that came to South Africa to come and look for a greener pasture. They end up staying here. Well, the president is saying the African people in South Africa was under pressure. They used to give the politician refugee in their own country. Now for us, it's a payback time. Locals are complaining that these people are also stealing their jobs. Look at the dirty water and the pigs over there. But these people do not have diseases like malaria, because this is a running water. And both on your left and your right, because it's wet here, it's a wetland, there is reed. Sometimes South African people are fighting with these people because they're saying they are stealing their jobs, they are being underpaid, but I should think because they're stranded, they are here to come and look for work, so they just take any job. All the streets in Soweto, they have street names, all the houses with house numbers. It is very easy for a person to look for a place in Soweto and find it. When you're in Soweto, you are not in the middle of nowhere. Some people used to think that we are harboring big fives in our own backyards. There are no people living in Soweto, it's only animals. No, it's not like that. People are very, very friendly. We have what we call Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a Zulu word meaning humanity, looking after one another. Even if there is crime there and there, not a lot of crime, we have what we call the neighborhood watch and the vigilantes. Vigilantes are men that are working together with the police so they can stop crime. And criminals are scared of them. They prefer to go to the cities in Johannesburg, because those guys, when they catch you, they take the law into their own hands. The tall light situated in the middle of the houses, not at the street light, there's one ahead of us. We call them the Apollo lights because they are above our houses. And the lights were installed in 1986 during the state of emergency. 9 o'clock, it was a curfew time. Nobody was allowed to be on the street. Otherwise, you will be arrested for trespassing. Because it's a free country now, we are having some of the white people that are staying here in Soweto, although it is a drop in the ocean, having the interracial relationship that were not allowed during the olden days. Because it's a free country now, some people want to come here to live with us and experience the life of Soweto. The houses on your left-hand side, they classified as middle class. So you get a subsidy from your employer. These are people, some of them, that are working as teachers, as police, as social workers. So they are being subsidized. And this is the small little park on your right where you can find an outdoor gym. It is on your right-hand side. It is for free. Of people, 80% of people in our country, they are Christians. We do have the Muslims and the Hindus. In means of transport, we use buses, we use trains, and we use these minivans, the coffin on wheels. area ahead of us, it is classified as also one of the upper class area here in Soweto. You can see the big, nice double-story houses. It is called Rockville, Moroka. It was also named after Chief Moroka. He was one of the politicians, one of the ANC members that went to life in prison together with Nelson Mandela. So these are the people that used to live in a place called Soweto Town. When apartheid was implemented in 1948, they were forcibly removed in 1955. And those that were owning a piece of land, they were relocated into Rockville. On your left-hand side, this is one of the biggest parks. This one, it is called Togoza Park. There's a picture of Nelson Mandela right in the middle. And you can see the park is very clean, well looked after. We use them for birthday parties, wedding ceremonies, and also for picnics. And when you look on your right-hand side, this is the new bus station. Well, government has introduced these big new buses here for the safety of the commuters. It's written in Sesotho, Vaya means we are going. They wanted to get rid of the minivans and implement the bigger buses, but the taxi owners, they are fighting with government because they want to retain their businesses. They're complaining and saying they have started this business in the early 50s and they don't want the government to take over their businesses. Then we will be stopping at the church on your left-hand side. It is a Catholic church called Regina Mundi. We have 17 Catholics in Soweto, and Regina Mundi was built central. It was built in 1961. Today it is called the Parliament of Soweto. During the olden days, this is where all the political meetings were held, and also the student uprising in 1976, it was held in the church, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu was the chairman. The church may look very small from outside, but when you get inside, it is big. The capacity, it is 5,000 when seated and standing. There are bullet holes on the ceiling that you are going to see. When the police were dispersing the student, they were using live ammunition, but nobody was killed inside the church. Last year on the 23rd of July, the First Lady of the USA, Mrs. Michelle Obama, came to the church, and also everybody came here because people wanted to catch a glimpse of Mrs. Obama. And this area was actually closed because you needed an invite to come to see the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It was held at the church, and also Archbishop Desmond Tutu was the chairman. Why the government proposed the TRC? They wanted to find the truth about the people that went to exile. They never came back. They were never seen by their families. Some of them were killed in exile. And during the TRC, all the police that took part, they actually came to the TRC to come and confess about what happened during that time. Some did not come because they were scared of the government. Those who came, they were pardoned, but unfortunately, some of them, because they did terrible deeds to the people, they were sentenced to life in prison, and some of them are still in prison. At least the TRC brought closure to the families that their loved ones disappeared during that time. On your left-hand side, it is a clinic for the mentally handicapped children and the disabled one. Then on your right-hand side, it is an orphanage home, Othandweni. Othandweni is a Zulu word meaning a lovable place. That's where the abandoned, abused children, the neglected ones, are being kept. And on your left-hand side, Soweto Rehabilitation Center, it is on your left-hand side. Young boys from the age of 13 are actually on drugs, smoking marijuana. It is very easy to find marijuana here in Soweto. Some of the people even grow it in their own backyard, in their own vegetable yard. Even in school, whereby the principal does not see whether there is marijuana in school. It's marijuana, sometimes it's cocaine and mandrax, but cocaine and mandrax, you can only find them in the cities. On your left-hand side, we are having the elephant houses. We call them elephant because of their roof on top. It has been shaped like an elephant. The gentleman who donated money to the government so they could build these houses, his name was Sehero Oppenheimer. He was the director of the BS Diamond Mines. These are very small houses, as we can see. They semi-detached, 3 different families sharing the whole unit. 3 different families sharing the whole unit, and these people have built up walls to divide their houses. Those with money, they've extended the houses by building the extra rooms. It is to make extra bedrooms for their family. Those who do not have money, much money, they are actually still using the corrugated iron shack to extend their houses. We as African people, we're having the extended family, whereby you'll find that there's one white lady at the corner, if you can see. That's what I was trying to tell, that we are having some of the white people that are staying in Soweto. Having extended family, you can share a 2-room house or a 3-room house. So that's how all of us grew up during the olden days, where you share each and everything. We look after one another because we have extended families. I said unemployment is very high, but each and every corner of the street in Soweto, you find people trading, selling fruits and vegetables. Of course, it is very easy. They go to the big market, go and buy, come and resell to make profit. The government wants to empower women. They always talk about emancipation of women. And also because during the olden days, women were marginalized. So they just want to have the people, the women, and empower the women. We are having 41% of women that are in government, having the premiers of 4 provinces in South Africa, and they are all women. So a premier, it is the head of the province. Those are the people that report to the president. Then on your right-hand side, of course, you can see this used to be a scrapyard. I don't know why they're calling it women driving school, whether women cannot drive properly. But on your left-hand side, there's a college. We do have colleges. That's one college where students have been taught how to manufacture jewelry. Then on your right-hand side, the PDSA for animals. We're also having horse riding, though it's not a popular sport at the moment for black students, but there's a gentleman who is teaching them horse riding. In South Africa, we have 9 ethnical groups speaking 11 official languages. The most popular languages that are used, we are having Zulu, Xhosa, and Sesotho. Well, myself, I can speak all of them because I grew up in the township, and besides that, they're more similar, they're almost the same. The most popular one that I use, Zulu, Xhosa, and Sesotho, they have those clicks that you speak. In Zulu, you can say, Qoqothola Milia Qaqamba. Wonder if you know Miriam Makeba's click song, Iqeqa Lendlela Ngonqonqothwane Sebeqebele Gqithakwe Ngonqonqothwane. And in Sotho you can say Kiqoqa Moqoqo Oqoqwan Kibaqoqi Baqwa. So those are 3 different languages, but they are almost the same. On your right hand side, this used to be the hostel for the migrant laborer. All men that were working in the gold mines used to live here. These men will leave their family behind in the rural area to come and look for work in the gold mines. You know, their wives will stay at home, raise the children, look after the children, and they will visit them once or twice because women and children were not allowed in the hostel. It used to be 16 men, 16 that were sharing a block with 1 kitchen and 1 bathroom. And during the olden days, we have 2 ethnic groups that were staying in the hostels, but they were separated because of the faction fight. We know Zulu people as warriors. They have been fighting for the land, of course, with the British and the Dutch people, and also the Xhosa people. We normally say they're negotiators because that's where Nelson Mandela derives from. When Mr. Nelson Mandela was released from prison, we had faction fight also, where the Zulu people were very much against Mr. Nelson Mandela becoming the president, saying they will never be ruled by a Xhosa. We have tribalism. It's a problem in our country, but Mr. Nelson Mandela took a bold step to go to all the provinces, more especially KwaZulu-Natal, to say we are all African, South African people. This faction fight must stop. Take your weapons and throw them in the sea. That's when the faction fight stopped in 1992. They have built a car dealership also on your right hand side. I have said big companies are coming to invest in Soweto, and it's a partnership. This is Mr. Richard Maponya also, and Toyota is another BEE. Mr. Maponya, we have 30 millionaires and he is now one of them. I should think he's now a billionaire, and he's worked very, very hard to create jobs for the people of Soweto. He's at the age of 94 and he's still strong working. I would like you to look on your left hand side, a house that has flags at the entrance, different flags surrounded by the tree. It is the house of Winnie Mandela. All the trees that are at the corner, it's a brown and white house, it's a double story. It is the house of Winnie Mandela, and she still lives in that house. That house was built in 1986 when they were preparing for the releasing of Nelson Mandela. But after his release from prison, he refused to go to the house because the house was built during his absence. He wanted to go to his house where he was actually arrested, and then he only lived there for 11 days. After 11 days, because of security reasons, and the house was very small, he moved out of the house. He came to live with Winnie here for 1 year, and after 1 year they separated. Mr. Nelson Mandela moved out of the house. He went and buy a house in Lower Houghton in Johannesburg. That's where he's still staying at the moment. Oh, there's a coffin ahead of us. He must move forward. Winnie Mandela, she's a second wife to Nelson Mandela. They have 2 daughters, and their eldest daughter was married to the Swazi prince. With his first wife, Evelyn, they had 4 children. 2 of them died when Mr. Nelson Mandela was still in prison. The eldest boy, son, died about 5 years ago at the age of 55. And he's now married to his 3rd wife, Graça Machel. She was the first lady of Mozambique and the only woman in the whole world married twice by the head of the state, the ex-president of South Africa and the late president of Mozambique, and her name is already in the Guinness Book of World Records. So right at the corner you can see the sign fingers on your right hand side at the corner. These are all the sign fingers that how to stop the taxi people use. We are now in Villa Gazi Street. Why I'm mentioning the name of the street? Because this is the only street in the whole world that has 2 Nobel Peace Prize laureates. It is Archbishop Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela. And always people say, if you haven't put your foot on this street, you haven't been to Soweto.